Hey there, listeners. This is Jaron in the future, getting ready to upload today's episode. Sadly, yesterday morning, on Sunday, November 20th of 2022, the tragic incident of the mass shooting in Colorado Springs had made its way into my world. 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich open-fired upon entering an LGBTQIA+ nightclub just before midnight on Saturday, taking the lives of 5 innocent individuals and injuring 18. Several of those injured are in critical condition. Causes of intent to crime are still unknown. Today's episode was recorded before this incident. Instead of waiting until your next week's episode for us to talk about it, I wanted to take a moment and say a few words. I acknowledge the privileges that I have because of my 4 mothers and fathers in the queer community that rioted at Stonewall Inn in 1969. Whether this attack is a hate crime or just another individual without any actual needs to possess firearms, I'd like to remind everyone that don't identify within the queer community that hate crimes still happen in all parts of the world. There are still countries where queer individuals are sentenced to death for living their truth. In our country, where it's easier to get a firearm than a pack of cigarettes, our community, as well as other minorities, are still at risk for violence. Voting for politicians with NRA money in their pockets and giving your money to companies that don't have our best interest at heart contradicts allyship. More than ever, the world needs to start loving one another and stop hating on each other. Please, stand up with us against hate crime against all minority communities, especially those that involve the use of firearms and worse. Remember to vote like hell. The fight won't stop until our safety is 100% guaranteed. Okay, love you, bye. And I know it's my fault because I get really excited about things, but I was really like trying to push that in your face, and he was like, I don't think she's ready yet. And I was like, I need you to talk.
Put it in her face.
This is a
2 guys putting it in her face. I'm sorry. I have
B-
such a immature sexual mind, but
do you ever look at this mic? I was telling a client the other day, I was like,
I'm totally.
I look, I was
That's
like,
why when you kept pushing it closer to me, I'm like, what are we doing right now?
yep. I was telling a client of mine, I was like,
my
we
goodness.
upgraded the equipment, and
Yeah.
that is one big, beautiful black mic.
It
and
is.
BBM.
A large one.
Okay.
It's got width,
It's got
which
it's got a
we
lot of
know
girth.
in reality
Oh
that's
my
what
God.
matters.
Family,
baby.
we're so sorry.
That's what matters.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I'm Heather. My pronouns are she, her.
And my name is Jaron. My pronouns are he, him. And we are your hosts of Typically Divergent Podcast.
Today we'll be talking about an introduction to astrology.
So, hi Heather, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, honey, I'm doing so good.
Oh, I'm so excited for vacation to start.
I bet you
I'm
are.
off after today.
Good for you.
I need it.
You deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, of course. So I have something really funny to tell you about this past week.
Oh my
So
goodness.
we were over at Nicholas's parents' house this past weekend for his dad's birthday. Hi Dan, hi Stacy, hi Connor. Hi guys, I love you so much. His dad has recently been trying to be cautious of the foods that he's been eating. And he looks at us, we're eating at the table, and he goes, you know, after reading some of this stuff, you know, guys, I don't think that the FDA has any of our best interest at heart. And we all just kind of like stopped, and I looked at him and I said, damn, Dan, you're so woke. I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
Woke on the FDA and the food.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Just, I don't know if I'm going to cut this in or cut it out, but just wait till you find out about the NRA.
Oh goodness, right?
Yeah. And then we talked about avocado toast.
Yes. Okay, I can't help it. I know it's a stereotype, but I really love avocado toast. And then you add your spices and your little red pepper flakes and then put an egg on top. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love it. And you got to do twists of it. You can't just do basic avocado on it. That's not all it is. There's more to it, people.
Right.
Oh, I love it.
And then, so I was taking Dozer for a walk, and there are a lot of Canadian geese by the apartment because of the ponds that are nearby. And I was trying to get him to take it for a walk, and all he wanted to do was Canadian geese shit off the ground. And I was like, bro, like I looked like an animal abuser because of how many times I was pulling at him, trying to get him to stay away from it and yelling at him. And it's just like,
but don't eat the geese poop.
don't eat the geese poop, bro.
Yeah. Also, Canadian
I think,
geese.
is that the name of the title? Don't eat the geese poop, bro.
Speaking of Canadian geese, there's a running joke. And again, my husband is Canadian, so I feel
Hi,
that
Spencer.
I'm allowed to say this. But the reason that they say Canadians are so nice is because all the anger goes into the Canadian geese. I believe in it because like Canadians tend to be like very nice, very polite people, like in comparison to the stereotype of Americans when they're traveling and stuff, right? And so I mean, I don't know about you, but I my college used to be full of Canadian geese. Like I went to University at Buffalo in New York, and
Oh no, I didn't
they
go to
were
Buffalo, New York for
everywhere, and
college.
they would freaking attack you. I mean, they would flipping attack you, and
Yeah.
it's like that kind of thing where like you do not want to run into them by yourself or anything, right? Like they're nuts, and as like the official bird or whatever of Canada, it's like yeah, that makes sense. That works for me as an explanation.
Right.
I believe in it.
Speaking of Canadians, so speaking of Canadians,
Speaking of
speaking
Canadians.
sorry, folks. We actually don't have any Canadian listeners except for your husband.
Aw,
But
the sole Canadian listener.
really, just speaking of people in other countries,
Mm-hmm.
we would have a little shout out that we'd like to make. So after our third episode launched, we are able to dive more into our analytics of our listeners and our followers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who download, which again, folks, please, if you have just a second, please click that follow button and that download button so we can reach more people and tell your friends about our show. But anyway, so out of all of the downloads and our highest listeners list, we have people in Brussels, Belgium,
Oh my
and
goodness.
they are ranking at number 6.
Oh my goodness, that's super cool.
So hi, folks in Belgium. In America, we have this thing called a Belgian waffle, and like I really like y'all waffles. It's just huge.
yeah.
We love to eat big portions and have it cheap.
Yes. And Belgian waffles are usually really sweet here. So, and then with the fresh fruit on top, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really good fresh Belgian waffles.
So, folks in Belgium, please reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you. Like seriously, like thank you so very much. They've been listening to us since day one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you guys. Whoever you are, please feel free to email us. We like that is really cool.
Yeah. And everybody that is listening anyway, like please, we would love to chat with you folks. We have been very interactive on our Facebook page, which I know not everybody uses Facebook. Until we get like a Discord or something, that is what we're currently using right now to interact with people as like a group. So if you want to be a part of that, please follow the link tree in the episode description notes and you can come do that. And hopefully one day we'll have a Discord when this episode launches. We're going to have a new Facebook page so that we can link that with Instagram so we can keep more content
linked together.
Yeah. Because we're not able to do that between Instagram and the Facebook group. I think the Facebook group moving forward with that's going to be the area where we're going to like be interactive with you guys as a whole.
Yeah.
And as far as like episode release dates and like news that's happening, like that will transfer from the group to the Facebook page. Also, the day that we are recording this episode, Scarlet and Violet are out. And it is sitting on my Switch, which is in the kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
But I promised Nicholas that I would wait until he got home.
That's so hard to wait, right? Like
it's been a pact of ours for a while.
I am very, very excited. What's gonna be your starter Pokemon?
I always go for fire, but
the grass
one looks really cute.
Kitty is super cute. I mean, I picked Bulbasaur. We talked about it last episode. I feel like it's fitting for me to go that way, but actually, I do like the fire one. It's like a little gator boy. It's like the version of like the dog in the group, right? And then you've got the duck. I'm not super fan of the duck, so I know like that's out.
Yeah,
and that's
it looks like Donald Duck.
Yeah. And then I guess, I don't want to spoil anything. I saw some things about its evolutions, and I'm like, yeah. I like the other ones better.
The gator looks like somebody threw a slice of Kraft American cheese on it.
Oh
Which,
my
for you
goodness,
non-American
that's
listeners, that's what America calls cheese and puts in their grilled cheese sandwiches, and it's not even made from. It's not. Like,
It's not real.
It's not real cheese.
Yeah.
It's like gas station nacho cheese, which I don't think you even have that in your country either.
It's considered literally like elevated grilled cheese to use real cheese, like using cheddar and Swiss and
Yeah. Munster.
Munster.
I love
I was
Munster.
literally gonna say that.
So how's your week been?
Oh, it's been okay. It's been a little crazy. Like I think I always have this thing where if I know I'm going on vacation with work, I always try to do a lot to prepare for that or try my best to get things done. But to be honest, I'm actually kind of proud of myself because I was very honest with myself that this week was going to be kind of crazy. Have a lot of things going on at work. And so whatever I get done, and I try my best. And if not, like, I think people are supportive of me in that. And it's like, you keep trying and then you bring it back to the table when you come back. You
Yeah.
know, and that is something that I constantly have to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I did an okay job at it this week.
Good. Good.
Do you watch American Horror Story? I can't remember if we talked about
I,
this.
I do. I'm a dedicated fan, but I have not been. I have not been following this one.
So I don't want to spoil anything, especially if other people aren't done with it. But the finale did just recently release. I'm honestly not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
But so no spoilers or anything like that. It's just more of a overall feeling on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this thing with American Horror Story where I think a lot of people who watch the show at this point, because there are so many seasons, you have your favorites, you have ones that you think are duds, you have ones that are like, okay, this was all right, but not
Mm-hmm.
really my thing.
Yeah.
I think the themes presented in this American Horror Story, which I believe is season 11 at this point, is they're very important themes. They're things that are important for us to think about as society and things that have happened in our
Mm-hmm.
past. There are a lot of LGBTQ community related themes that are expressed throughout this entire season. I
Of
think that's
course.
excellent,
Mm-hmm. That I do know.
which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And I still enjoyed watching it as a whole. However, when it comes to American Horror Story, I usually enjoy more of the paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
I like to be scared. I like when American Horror Story is known for pushing the envelope
Yeah.
of horror and gore. And I know that that is also other people's, not their preferred,
Mm-hmm.
but that's mine. And for example, my favorite is obviously Coven.
Yeah.
But this season was very real. It was very realistic.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on historical things.
Mm-hmm.
There's not necessarily anything wrong with that. That's
Mm-hmm.
just not what I look for in American Horror Story.
Yeah.
And so in the end, I just thought it was a little too realistic.
Too close to actual American soil.
Yeah, and there's a theme in that, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
is our reality also horror? But I'm like, man, with our fruit salad, as we call it, of mental illnesses, I don't know that I need that reminder.
I can't
And
go there.
I go to American Horror Story to see things that are otherworldly and the paranormal, and
Yeah.
I enjoy that, and I want it to be entertaining, and I didn't find this season to be as quote unquote entertaining for
Yeah.
me. That's
I understand.
yeah. So a little bit disappointed in that, but that's what I've been up to lately in terms of watching things.
Okay. Would you like to rate your mental health for the week?
For the week, I'd say probably an 8.
Good.
Overall, pretty good.
Good.
I did have an event today that made me go instantly to like a 2.
Mm-hmm.
I had a almost near-death experience, it feels like, in my mind, and made my anxiety go sky high right before my last day of work before being off for a week. It was pretty icy out this morning because the temperature changed.
Yeah.
And for many areas of our hometown, they were taken care of appropriately. Roads were salted, cleanup crews got around it, the highway was totally fine. All of that, awesome. Around my neighborhood and right outside of like my neighborhood entrance, which is at a light, was not taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell ahead of time. I have experience driving in the snow. I was taking it slow. I try not to be one of those people, right,
Yeah.
that don't pay attention, total a-holes on the road in the winter weather. No, I was taking it carefully. I was sliding straight out into traffic, I swear to you, for like a whole minute.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt like an hour. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm not slowing down. I'm not stopping. And it was like continuously. It was so bad. And I saw the cars coming that I'm like, I either need to start beeping because I'm about to be risked. And I would have been T-boned.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have at least probably been injured because it would have been on my side of the car. Or last minute, I thought, okay, I need to actually, there's a median at the entranceway to my like neighborhood where all the houses are. And I'm like, I'm going to drive onto that. I'm literally going to drive myself up on curb, even if that makes me lose control in a different way of the vehicle. I'd rather crash into some bushes or maybe even a wall in that median than I would crash into another car. Like, I can't do this. So, and I'm having anxiety just talking about it, but like,
Well, yeah, vehicle accidents are traumatic. Have you ever had a vehicle accident before?
yeah,
Okay.
but it was like, it wasn't a bad one. It wasn't like, it was sort of just where I got rear-ended because someone wasn't watching or paying attention at a light, and it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Still a shock, though.
But yes, oh my goodness, it was not a fun experience. I literally had to call my husband on the way into work and talk to him about things and being like, I tried everything. I'm glad that I thought of that in the last minute. I guess in the end, as a positive message, is everyone please be careful in the snowy conditions. Been pretty frustrated with my neighborhood in the area around where I live because it is a busy road. So to me, there's no excuse for them not taking care of it. I understand that other priorities like a highway would come first, but I thought it was very strange to me that a very busy road that I live off of wasn't cleaned. I don't live in the countryside. I don't know. can't control those things, and
Yeah.
it happened, and kind of had a dip in the mental health realm, but then I'm back. I'm
Okay.
good. I
Well,
know
good.
I came out of it. We're here today.
Good.
What about you though? How are you feeling this week? How are you feeling today?
Well, when I saw you on Tuesday when we were planning for this episode, I
Mhm.
told you that I was feeling kind of in the dumps lately.
Yeah.
So for anybody who doesn't live in the Midwest of America, and if you have not gotten snow recently, but then again, global climate change is real. So if you are experiencing snow like us, and if you have seasonal affective disorder like me, your normal depression becomes extra depression. And
Not the kind of extra we want, right?
no, we don't. But as far as how I'm feeling today,
Mm-hmm.
I am feeling much better. My
Good.
entire week, I mean, it was just uphill.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
that's good to hear.
Yeah, there were a lot of moments where it was like, I had to remind myself, I'm only in control of so many things, and the one
Mhm.
thing that I am the most in control of is how I respond to stuff, and how I allow those emotions to take over me if I allow them to do so. Let's say intrusive feelings.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the big sads came, and then increased anxiety, and there's also just like a lot that's going on
Yeah.
right now.
Stressors.
Yes, there's a lot of extra stressors. I know that I have the power to be able to a little more balanced,
Yes.
as we talked
Like
about last week.
like therapy. The therapy is helping with
Mhm.
that and the things that you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Like, I mean, I think it's important too, as one of my friends who has gone through their own mental journey has always told me, it is important to validate the feelings that you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
We're not about toxic positivity where we
No.
completely ignore the negative feelings that we have. Like, I feel like sometimes people go too far the other way, right? Where like they refuse to recognize once they're like in therapy or things like that. And that almost creates its new problem where you're like, no, I'm not allowed to think this way. No, you actually should
Yeah.
like process it. Process whatever you're feeling. Those are valid. And sometimes validation is all you need, that it's
Yep.
okay to feel the way you feel,
Mm-hmm.
process it, and then based off of what your personal experience has been in therapy or other things like that and the coping skills you've learned, then start to utilize those, right?
So yeah, I'm really feeling pretty good today.
Good,
So, yeah.
good.
I want for our little fun fact of the week, and I would like for the audience to do this with us as well. I'm going
Ooh.
to ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
Okay, and I want you to think of them in your head.
Okay.
First, I need you to think of an animal, any animal.
Okay.
Okay? You can't have that animal anymore. So now put that off to the side.
Okay.
So I need you to think of a second animal.
Okay.
Okay? You got that in your head?
Yep.
Okay, so now I need you to put that off to the side. You can't have either of those 2 animals now, okay? I
Okay.
need you to think of a third one.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is how you see yourself. The second one is how others see you. And then the third one is what you actually are. I see myself as a dog. People see me as a cat. And I'm a horse. I am majestic, honey.
Oh my goodness,
I'm a
I fucking
stallion.
love that. You're a stallion.
I am a stallion. I am Italian,
baby.
you know.
Italian stallion. Fucking love it. So I see myself as a cheetah. People
Oh.
see me as a cat.
Okay.
And in actuality, I'm a panda. And that's honestly so adorable because I love pandas. So I'm okay being a panda.
So,
Okay, so let's be real here. That means I'm a panda who thinks she's a cheetah. That's some crazy identity issues, okay? I love that. Where did you
know.
come up with that?
It was a reel on Facebook because remember, I'm old. I don't watch TikTok.
I know. We're working on you.
One day we'll
One
be on
day.
TikTok.
You're allowed to like what you like, though, right?
Correct.
'Kay.
Yes. Tarot card drawing?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
do
do
it.
it.
I love how we said that at the same time. I
know.
love you.
I love you too.
Okay, so I got the moon.
Mm-hmm.
I got it in reverse though, so I pulled it upside down. It represents a release of fear and repressed emotions. So it serves as a reminder to follow your own intuition, perhaps over what, a multitude of different people could be giving, their opinions on something, and a release of anxieties. I have to admit, I'm thinking a lot about my car event earlier this morning, and having to slowly work on releasing the fear and anxiety and, some of the aspects of winter driving that it reminded me of. I don't know. I feel like I've been working on this a lot with my career and how I, express myself, trying to find like the positives in what I'm working on, but also the things that, I see as issues around me that I would also like to fix for myself and for others. And how do I work on that, but also know that those changes might not come quickly, and things like that. And working through those issues and how to express myself and my opinions and not hold back either. I easily hold back, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that was a good reminder for me. I've been really liking what I've been pulling every single time we have these episodes. So, what about you?
I drew the empathic starseed card. It is a reminder that I am here to shift the world through my presence. We are typically
Look at
introverted. I
you.
know. We are typically introverted because crowds are overwhelming, which is so very true.
Ooh.
I used to love crowds. Now I don't.
Yeah, thanks, COVID.
Yes. Well,
that's definitely added to that for me.
That intensified my desire to not be around people.
Yes.
That made it worse.
Issues.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Because we typically have a hard time being on Earth and experiencing the humanly experience.
Oh boy, do I feel that.
We are prone to addiction and depression, or tend to make other people's emotions our own. Empathy is being able to feel those feelings with someone and to sit there with them, no matter what that feeling is.
Correct.
But to be able to take on that emotion and make it my problem is something I've always dealt with. To remind myself that we do need to lighten our load a bit and do whatever we can to take off the pressures of this world. And to keep in mind, we can't fill from an empty cup.
That's such a good last statement for that.
Right. Having that card drawn, I think this would be a good opportunity for me to, I am in recovery of substance abuse. We can talk about that another time.
Well, thank you for having the courage and being brave to bring that up with everyone here.
Well,
and
of course,
we talk about it when you're comfortable about it. You know.
Yeah, of course. I know that we are a partnership and we are close friends, and your anxiousness from this morning was causing me to be anxious.
Oh, okay.
And so I all day today kept telling myself, nope, like, she's fine. Everything's fine. We're still on for tonight. We're going to make this work. I can't allow your anxious experience to get muddled up with my day when I had to prepare my stuff on my end and still get through my day to be here today with you. Correct. So it was just really fitting. It was like, oh, yep, I did that today.
I empathize with you in all that you just said, because especially related to the empathy aspect, because I struggle with that too. Yeah. Like, it is very difficult not to start to almost absorb the feelings and then make them your own. And you have to, like, it's okay to, like, recognize and be there and be empathetic, but you got to be careful about that absorption aspect. You got to be careful about how it transforms you as a person, or you're going down that dark path with time. Right. So, yep, it's a good reminder.
Yep. So, Heather is going to be leading the research for this week. And again, we're going to be doing very simple astrology basics. There is so much to get into, and I think we were like, hold up, like, this is gonna have to be done in some parts. So today we're gonna get into it. And Heather, why don't you take it away?
All right, so we're going to talk about astrology, sort of that 101, like we're in a Harry Potter course right now. We're all at Hogwarts today. Astrology, you hear a lot of like, oh, I'm a Virgo, I'm a Pisces, Mercury is in retrograde, but what is...
Mercury's in Gatorade.
Mercury's in Gatorade. I love that. So, but like, what actually is all this? Okay. So basically, astrology utilizes the alignment of different types of planetary bodies to express the cosmic signature. Okay. I love that wording. Today, in like the Western world, astrology, it's seen as a divination focused practice, which is why it's often in shared witch spaces today. Okay. Again, in more, modern day westernized spaces.
Right, because we're doing Western astrology.
Yes, and there's so many different types.
Yes.
So a variety of ancient cultures believed in forms of astrology. This dates back to practices in India, in parts of the Middle East, in parts of Asia, certainly. You know, we hear about the Chinese zodiacs. It used to be considered intellectual and scientific in many areas of the world in ancient cultures. It was even used as a way to sort of measure distances between things in space. Today, in Western tradition, it is considered a pseudoscience, which is where we see it more in mystical type of realms. It's not considered accurate from a science. Let's measure, you know, this angle or this distance. We don't use it for that anymore. It's more of a belief system, right? So where do the zodiac signs come from? Again, we're talking about the Western zodiac, which is, again, sort of the horoscopes. The signs correspond to constellations that make up a region of our sky.
Okay.
The word zodiac is in reference to a cloud of dust that moves among the planets. The word itself means cycle or circle of little animals, which is so cute.
Okay, but like I'm a Libra and I don't get an animal, I get a scale.
I know. Well, I get a pitcher of water as a water. Yeah. Western astrology primarily credits Greek and Roman culture, particularly the work of Ptolemy and his work Tetrabiblos, which is Greek, and that is further derived from Egyptian and Babylonian cultures. The names of the signs have primarily Latin basis, which comes from Roman culture.
Right.
So the Greek and Roman mixing of cultures sort of created a lot of the basis of what we utilize today, for sure. Yep. What is a sun versus a moon versus a rising sign? We hear about that a little bit more nowadays when people have been getting into astrology a little bit more, looking into more details than just like, what's your horoscope, right? So these are the three main points on your birth or natal chart that outline your personality and who you are. The further points on the chart add in additional details. So the chart itself is representative of that cosmic signature that's unique to you as an individual, as we talked about prior. It's literally your cosmic signature.
For anybody who wants to look up your birth charts and stuff, we'll have the link in the description note. Looking at, when I first looked at mine, I was like, oh my God, what is this thing? This is like a mess, a bunch of lines.
A giant map of lines and angles.
Yes.
And it literally looks like a science project. A physics thing.
Right. It looks it looks like I try to draw something with my left hand.
Oh my gosh, do you remember those 90s like toys? Right? They were like discs that you'd put a pen in and you make a pattern and it goes around and like etches around. It's come back.
I saw them at this.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I know
one
what
of
you're
our
talking
listeners
about.
tell me about it.
Oh yeah, listeners, if you know what it's called,
tell us, remind us,
please.
But you put the different colored pens, right, and it makes a design. That's literally what it feels like with
I
the
saw them
charts.
at Meyer the other day.
Yes. Yeah. But that's literally what they look like. That's sort of what they remind me of.
Yeah.
It's like all of these lines going back and forth, and somehow it's related to where the planets aligned on the time and day of your birth. So with birth charting, we are going to talk about the basics, again, the sun, moon, and rising sign, but there are so many other added aspects to your overall cosmic signature, as we like to call it, that we're going to talk about more of those extra details in a future episode or even more, because it is a lot to unpack. So with the sun and the moon, those represent the positions of the planets relative to the sun and the moon. With one's rising sign, or what we also call the ascendant sign, this is representative of the sign rising literally in the eastern horizon at the time of one's birth. Your sun sign is your primary sign. This is what most people today in popular, social media, etc., what most people search for as their zodiac sign. That's your primary sign. Sun represents vitality. So this is your vitality related sign. It represents you as an overall individual, your life, your primary being, and your energy. And on a macro level, this is who you are. And the major sort of stereotypes, good and, negative things to work on that you might have to face about you. Where the sun is the vitality and your life, the moon is your soul. This is how you feel in your subconscious. It's a side you may keep more hidden from people who don't know you. It's your internal emotions. So how you also may react to an event or something that happens to you, how you may express yourself at home, at ease, and when you are most comfortable. So
LOL, that's so funny because when I was taking my notes of my moon, I was like, oh, we're not going to say that.
Yes.
There were parts in it I was like, I don't want people to think of me like this.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
we're
bitch,
being
bitch.
genuine, you guys. We
Literally,
promise.
we're being so genuine right now because I literally felt the same thing. And some of my friends who I talk to about this, it's so funny because the sign that's my moon is something that I've literally have a history of like an issue with a few people of that actual sun sign. And I'm like, I'm not proud to be this. How is this possible? And then when like you really look into it, you're like, okay, I understand that I have this side of me, and it's in a different specific way than how that same side might be represented in the sun sign. So really, it is something that maybe you're not like always proud of, but sometimes those feelings come through. Interestingly, then your rising or ascending sign is your social personality. So this is how you self-identify and how you act in life. It might be the image of personality as seen by others and how others see you, how others identify you. It's the manifestation of your inner and outer world combined, and the type of energy that drives your approach to life. Then one other aspect that I wanted to talk about, because it does come up a lot. What about the recent zodiac date change thing?
The 13th one.
Yes, there's a 13th zodiac that some people talk about. It's interesting. It's just hard to explain, especially in a limited podcast timeline. However, it's actually only practiced by a minority of people who practice Western astrology.
Okay.
The minority of Western astrology practitioners follow the Sidereal system, which has roots in Hindu astrology. So it doesn't have the same roots as our Western astrology system. There is a subgroup of people, even more rare than just that group, includes also an additional sign called Ophiuchus. It sounds Greek and Roman still to me, so I'm saying it like I think it would be like kind of like a Greek god or something, like Ophiuchus. And basically, all that implies is that it suggests that if you follow this more alternative practice, everyone would be a month before their traditional sign. You know, and that's separate from also acknowledging Hindu astrology is its own thing.
Yeah.
That's appropriate. That's fine. It's more so just I do want to highlight that where the roots of that alternative look is basically it's on just how you look at how the planet basically turns around the sun, and it comes from a different root of astrology.
Okay.
To apply to our Western astrology culture.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So it's interesting, but I don't personally follow it myself.
Sounds so interesting because you lost me. So interesting you lost me.
Wow, how Aquarius of me.
I know.
Which we'll get into.
So Heather just said she's an Aquarius and I'm a Libra. We are known as the scales of the zodiac. We are an air sign. Venus, the ruler of love and beauty, is our planet. I'm your Venus.
I'm your fire, it's your desire.
We are the 7th ruling house. Some of the characteristics of a Libra sign are intelligent, charming, diplomatic, artistic, and intelligent, which is ironic because as a kid I was told that I was a know-it-all. And I was like, I literally don't know how I know these things. I also was told a lot that I was an old soul, and so I think that knowledge just continued to pass on through my lives.
Yep.
I remember being a kid and like pooping on the toilet and looking at my dad and being like, I know how to spell the word people. Had never even seen the word. I was probably like first grade, maybe.
Yeah.
Not even a word that a first grader is trying to learn how to spell. We are kind and willing to put others' needs before our own, hence empathy to an unhealthy level. Also may have also put others' needs before my own because of being raised to believe that I was responsible for other people's emotions and feelings.
You're responsible for finding that balance for other people.
Yeah.
Giving them the Libra energy, which it is not your responsibility.
It is not my responsibility, no. We value harmony in all shapes and forms. Essentially, we want to bring out the balance to other people for their lives, and yet we are the most unbalanced individual there are. Hence, hi, it's me. I'm my own problem.
Oh, no, not that again.
We have the ability to be able to see the gray area, but also have an issue with things consistently being all black or white, so it's all or nothing in our own lives. We are best known for being able to view all sides of any circumstance. I have always been really good at unintentionally doing that. I remember as a child, one time I remember struggling with a paternal unit over the way someone was dressed, and their impression was that the stranger was a, quote, troublemaker. Being so emotional about it that I went to my middle school guidance counselor and cried to her about it because it just bothered me that other strangers were being judged just by the way that they look. We're expected to be good at making decisions, which is not true. And being able to follow through with them can be very much a struggle. Whenever I'm given the opportunity to make a decision like dinner or what I want, I struggle with making those decisions because I become too concerned about what other people want. So
Oh my God, that's me.
I'm usually the typical like, I don't know, what do you want? Even if I don't want to eat it, I'll still eat it just because it's easier for the majority.
Honey, I am the same fucking way.
Now,
I can't
when I'm
do
feeding
it.
myself or like if I'm out
Yeah,
and
yeah,
about
yeah.
and I'm like, I'm going to stop and have lunch somewhere. Even then I'm like, well, what do I want?
Yeah.
I
I
don't
struggle
know.
with it too because then I'm like, well, when am I going to have this opportunity again? And you make it like this super big important decision when it like
Right.
just make a decision, but you
Right.
can't.
Yeah. So one of the Goofy movies from way back in the day, the one where he's
Yes.
he's in the concert
Yes.
at the end. Okay, so when he and his dad are on that trip and he
Love
goes
that
left or right and he goes, I don't know,
Oh
left or
my
right.
goodness, yes.
Left. Every time I have a decision where it's like, okay, what do you fucking want, Jaron? I can hear his dad in the back of my head just screaming left because it's like that's the decision I want. We're constantly known for daydreaming. Hi, I think we call that disassociating now, and it has become a problem that I've been working on. Yes.
I feel that too.
When we fall in love, we fall hard. We are also known to be big flirts. Not currently true for my current day-to-day life because I am happily in a committed monogamous relationship. However, Libras are more common to be found as polyamorous because
Oh, interesting.
we have so much love to give. I'm not in a polyamorous relationship, but I I can confidently say that I have the ability to give love to multiple people.
So you can see where that would come from.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Again, I'm in a monogamous relationship right now, and that is all I need. Speaking of love, when it comes to finding love, we love the drama and the pageantry of relationships. One of the few who actually enjoy first dates.
Oh my goodness, that's adorable.
Hence why I have a history of being a whore. We don't shame.
We got to repeat that first date over and over.
Yes. We don't shame.
Nope.
Nope. We do not shame. But when we are looking and considering somebody for a partner, we constantly are looking into the future to imagine what that life could be like. I've literally hurt my own feelings by assuming my position in somebody else's life who they didn't even know that I existed because they ended up in a relationship. Somehow I was hurt by it because I was like, oh my, when Britney Spears got married, broke my heart.
Oh my goodness.
Broke my heart.
Okay. Now I'm like thinking of people in my past and I'm like, yeah, they must have been a Libra.
Yep. Yep. We have very socialistic cues and desires and the need to be around other people, which is not true for me anymore. One aspect about this that is still very true to me today, I have always hated going somewhere that involved a crowd of people, so anything more than like 6. And if I'm with only one person there, and I don't know anybody else, I'm typically the one that's like really super quiet for the first like 20 to 45 minutes to an hour until I finally feel the energies of the entire room. And then I can feel like I can be myself because then I kind of understand who everybody is. I don't ever just like walk in and I'm like, yo, what's up everybody? How you doing? Like, this is my name. I'm usually like the one where someone has to say, this is Jaron. I brought him with me. Or someone come to me and say like, hi, like, what's your name? I used to be the hello, my name is Jaron, come hang out with me. I'm not like that anymore. Libras would make great lawyers, therapists, or social workers, which is ironic because I wanted to be a therapist when I was a kid. I at one point once when I was younger, and I used to pop off all the time with my mouth because I was a very angry younger man and teenager and young adult. I used to be like, I'm really good at arguing because I'd be able to get my point across. I never really got my point across. I just was really good at being unhealthy and like loud and then just like and shutting down from a conversation and thinking that I won. I don't do that anymore.
We recognize where we have room for improvement.
Yes. And the greatest thing about improving is that it never ends.
Yeah.
When it comes to spirituality, we prefer insights through meditation and Reiki. In terms like what will be, which is a pretty big mantra in my life because I'm trying to be more present.
I like that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. When it comes to my birth chart, my rising is a Cancer. We are gentle creatures. We don't make a splash when we walk into the room. We glide from side to side.
Like a little crab.
Like a little crab.
Like Cancer.
Yes. Rather sensitive to their environment, so they tend to get flustered easily. Very true. A little too much overstimulation, and I'm done. You can call it a night for me. When they feel threatened, they want to protect themselves, which is very true. Come across as sweet, innocent, and caring individuals.
Aw.
I know.
I feel that. I feel that for you.
Cancer ascendants look for structure and stability in their relationships. So true. And their ideal partner displays strength, financial, and emotional stability. And this next part I thought was really funny because of how my past relationships have been.
Okay.
We prefer to have well-defined rules within those relationships.
Oh my goodness.
And that is very true.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about it on this episode.
Oh, that's
One day
okay.
we will.
So what about your moon?
My moon is in the Sagittarius.
How do you feel about that?
I only dated one Sagittarius. I'll never do it again. This means I have a need for personal freedom and space, and simultaneously the need for activity, which is why I work a lot.
Yep.
Well, not that this is the reason why. I think I've been working so much for the last couple of years because I've been avoiding trauma. But I love to stay busy. I've always been like that. They love adventure and wide open spaces in the outside world and in their own home. They love brightness in their environments and in their homes. Many people with lunar Sagittarius tend to be outdoorsy type. I love camping. I'm a bear in the woods. If there are any other gay people out there, you know what I mean when I say that I am a bear in the woods.
I think I even know what you mean. I love it. I love it.
Not much for making plans. They like to wing it, but they are also adaptable and generally on the go.
I feel like your Libra side makes up for that, though, because you like things to be organized and that balance of like having a schedule and things like that. Because we talk about that with the podcast.
Yes. So my flying at the seam of the pants with that is more so of just like body modifications, tattoos, piercings.
Oh, yes.
Things that I've done like that.
See, and so that's interesting where like, you know, again, you're talking
Also
about the
ADHD.
moon and that's your soul, right?
Yeah.
That's like the parts of you that get seen by those you're closest to.
Yes.
And when you're, I don't know, most comfortable, which is, you know, like your tattoos and, you know, doing things for yourself. Yeah, love it.
So Heather, tell me about your sign.
Okay.
Tell me about your birth chart.
Okay. So my sun sign, my primary sign is that I'm an Aquarius. We are the water bearers.
Yes.
So we're not the mermaid that's often holding it. We're literally the vase with the water pouring out. I always thought when I was little that I was like the awesome mermaid because I always thought mermaids were super cool when I was little. And I always wanted to be the mermaid. And then I realized that, no, you're literally the vase. You're the vase.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
I'm not the fucking mermaid.
She's not even the water.
You know what? I'm a mermaid in my own mind, okay? And that will go into the Aquarius sign and what we represent.
Well, I think because you're the vase holding the water, I think that's a good reminder that you need to stay hydrated.
Man.
Drink actual water.
Not me not liking water from episode 2.
I know.
Not me being a sub and listening to what people tell me to do. Take care of myself. Well, also, I'm an air sign, which represents a fixed sign. So those who are air signs, similar to Libra, we tend to be stubborn in certain areas of our lives, which I'll get into. We are represented by the planet Uranus. Yes, I know.
I like to say Uranus.
Uranus. Oh my goodness. I can't. It's like my least favorite planet. So again, along with like finding out later in life that you're not the mermaid holding the vase, you're the vase with the water pouring out, and then being like, why is my planet Uranus? Why? Like, it's just, I don't know. Whatever you think about planets, you're like, why this one, right? But I do think it's interesting considering the uniqueness aspect of this sign. So I think it goes with like people kind of associate Uranus with like the weird planet. So we're the weirdo sign, in quotes.
I always thought Pisces were the weirdos because they're the last, so they have the personalities and the traits and the characteristics of all of the signs.
Um, so from what I understand from learning about Pisces, I do have a couple friends actually that are Pisces and have looked up, things about signs in the past. Pisces tend to be big feelers, but they don't like to show it on the outside until they're like comfortable with people.
Yeah.
Um, Aquarius definitely, like, whenever you like see memes where like I've literally seen memes of like your sign as a Taco Bell menu item, and the Taco Bell menu item for an Aquarius will literally be something that no longer exists on the menu.
Mm, okay.
Like, we are considered, I think in episode 2 I talked about this, but we're like the alien sign. We are literally the weirdos.
Okay.
But good thought. I mean, I maybe everyone has their own kind of weirdness, right? So where weirdness comes into play with Pisces would be like they may come off as unemotional, but strangely enough, they're actually like considered the emotional sign.
Yeah. I
The
used to
really feely people, like the poetry within the soul kind of people.
Yeah, when I was an assistant manager for a corporate chain salon, I used to have to manage, well, we had a stylist who was a Pisces, and she was really sweet and everything. And one day I told her not to do something because it wasn't needed to be done, and she just like snapped. And I was like,
Yeah, and that's that
I
pent
don't
up
know.
emotion.
I was like,
Like,
I didn't know that you could be like this.
My experience in this is the Pisces people that I know, I'm very close with, and I absolutely love them. Shout out to you guys. I really care about you both.
Yeah, all
They
zodiacs matter.
they are wonderful people, and they work so hard to keep that stuff down, but they are highly emotional people who
Yeah.
feel a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from a positive standpoint, because I think most of them are empathetic,
Okay.
in my opinion, that I've run into. But anyway, so for Aquarius, they tend to be independent, enigmatic, intuitive, and unique. So we're quirky but sincere. We're considered intellectuals. Each Aquarius has an incredible individual story, so they're actually tough to describe as a group. But we'd actually pride ourselves on that. Like, you can't identify us. We literally hate labels, sometimes even the good ones.
Yeah.
So don't you dare put me in a category. Literally, when you're reading the horoscope, it's like, don't you put me in that group. Give me the most individualized horoscope you can, and that would make an Aquarius. Challenges that Aquarius people face, including myself, is number 1, perfectionism. Obvious, as we talked about last episode. They have a hard time accepting when something is good enough. Not the imposter syndrome.
Right.
They can come off as cold, but it is usually because they were pulled in another direction to actually help someone else. A lot of times they're driven by to help other people. So they prioritize based on a need, not just loyalty. And that can come into issues with like relationships where, people expect you to be like, I feel like when you get married, there's sometimes an expectation of like, your husband or your wife or whoever that is you're married to, those people come first. And that is important. I do think that there's an important aspect to that, but there are other people in our lives that like need us, and so you can get pulled in a lot of directions.
Yeah.
So Aquarius people do have to be mindful of that. I think that happens with me, especially in my career, because my career is based on helping other people.
Right.
And oh my goodness, do I find a lot of value in that. But sometimes that can be a downfall because I don't know when to put my foot down and say enough is enough. I need to have balance, work-life balance, all those types of things, right?
Right.
But clear communication can help an Aquarius improve on this. So I think sometimes if I just, tell Spencer, hey, I'm going to do this with a friend, they need my help, or I'm going to go do this with someone, is that okay? Can we move, this around or something like that? That tends to help. So as long as you're willing to have clear communication with the people around you, that's usually appreciated. We believe in change, evolution, and walking to the beat of our own drum, which is ironic considering we are a fixed sign. So you think of stubbornness in people who don't like change. But at the same time, I would like to say that as an Aquarius, we're stubborn about being different, like I was saying before, and about choosing our own path. The things that we do get passionate about, we are stubborn about. So, and to which there are many.
Yeah.
We're stubborn in our own idealism.
Yes.
But briefly, I think it's interesting because one thing that I was feeling a lot, especially with the things that were going on in 2020, is that There has been a debate in astrology as to when the age of Aquarius actually triggered and actually has been happening. There was a popular belief towards the end of 2020, I think it was like between September and November, that's when the true age of Aquarius started. And it's supposed to bring a time of what gets a negative connotation of woke, but I see that as a positive, and that's really like us waking up to the problems in society, to the problems in our world that we want to fix, and that like as humans literally evolve and like get to this higher level of thinking that perhaps we haven't been able to do in our past, and evolve as a society to take care of each other in better ways than we have before.
Right.
Like, to me, that's huge. And I think that's interesting because it usually that comes with very negative triggering events to force society to start to think that way.
Right.
And we look at all the things
Change
that
can't
have
happen without
happened in
conflict.
2020. We usually, we call it like a calendar of different traumatic events, right?
Yeah.
And different things that have happened. COVID, honestly, being just one of them. And that causing a shift in how people are.
Right.
And I always find that extremely interesting to talk about, and I get very passionate about it as an Aquarius, and I feel like I thrive in that type of environment because I want to be a part of that change with other people.
Right.
I want to help be a driving force with that.
Yeah.
And I think you and I talk about that with our podcast as a whole. So again, I'm very proud to be a part of this journey.
Same.
So speaking of that and things about being stubborn in our idealistic ways, generally Aquarians have a strong sense of justice, social justice in particular, and making the world a better place, which makes me really happy to be an Aquarius in this time period.
Yeah.
They tend to be curious and observant of people who are different than themselves, which helps to be open to changes with social justice. They understand things on a big picture and are very concerned about others idealistically, groups of people, but not how individuals may treat them, which becomes a problem, right? Because they might not care enough about someone treating them in a day-to-day. And I have certainly been in a set of abusive relationships, romantically, for example, but then like, you know, when you're talking about groups of people and society, that's where we're thinking on that level. So maybe we need to learn to care about ourselves a little bit more.
Yeah.
We don't like strict rules or people telling us what we should do, particularly when it comes to relationships and our love life. We define by the rules, ethics, and morals that we already stand for and do not wish to have others define them for us. When it comes to friends and social aspects, we are sometimes called open books and oversharers.
Hi.
It's me. We love finding connections with other people, and we're good listeners, but we will also question. And again, that brings up the ideals aspect. One of the quotes that they said is, "There is no me, there is only we." And that gave me like literally sci-fi dystopian, like
I love that.
as if I'm watching the Hunger Games, like, there is no me, there is only we. We're moving forward. We will evolve as a society and as human beings, and we will transform. And bitch, that's me.
Well, the whole purpose of wanting to do better for your next generation is so that they can have something that's better for you. I mean, how many times do we hear parents say things like, "Oh, I want my kids to have things I never had," and then like we do that for the future generations,
Yes.
and then they get to have a better life, and then the rest of society just shits on them.
Yeah.
It's like your
Like,
successes,
wasn't that the goal?
Yeah, your successes and your happiness are not worth it because you didn't struggle like I did. Like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Let's get better. So moving on to my rising sign,
Okay.
that affects and again to review is how others really see us. I am a Libra. Oh, so look at us, somewhat similar here.
You're also a horse.
Yes, I'm a horse panda. I'm a panda horse.
She said, what was your other one?
I'm a panda horse who thinks she's a cheetah.
Yeah.
And then other people see me as a cat. So wow, this is very interesting.
She's a feature.
A feature?
You're a feature.
No, not the feet.
Panda,
no,
horse,
feet.
cheetah. You're a feature.
I don't like the feet.
My dad's wife, hi Terry, I hope you're listening. I love you.
can't.
She told me like sometime this year that she used to be a horse girl. I was like, what? There's nothing wrong with horse girls, but just like,
When
y'all.
when people tell me that in their past life they were a horse girl, it's like I love how that's become like a whole personality. Like to be honest.
Have you seen the Horse Girl movie? It's a science fiction movie. It's so fucked up.
Oh yes, Spencer. I saw it. It's so fucked up with like everything she's going through, and she does a good job at creeping me out, man. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Horse
So my
girl.
stepmom's like, "Oh yeah, I'm volunteering my time during retirement to help with kids with like special needs
Okay.
to like do work with horses."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh really?" And she's like, "Yeah, I grew up with horses." And I went, "You're a horse girl?" She was-
We're not judging, but it's so funny.
But yeah, my mom's a horse girl.
Oh my goodness. The things that happen. Yeah. I don't even know what I'm saying
It's
anymore.
okay.
I can't come back from that because I'm just thinking. I'm also trying to think if you're a panda and a horse at the same time, like which parts look like that.
She's still back on that.
Girl, I've got ADHD. I am hyper focusing all the fuck way to like the different ways that I could combine a panda and a horse. I'm literally at the point where I'm like, when I get home, I'm gonna tell Spencer
To
because
draw you a panda
he's an
and a
artist.
horse.
I'm gonna ask him to draw me a panda horse person. And then we're gonna use it on the podcast as a meme. We are so gonna do that. The panda horse.
Oh my god.
And it can be representative of like when we're having issues with our identity. I'm really going off on this horse panda meme. Okay,
It's
but
okay.
back to astrology. No, there is no horse panda astrological sign.
Nor there is a panda or a horse.
The constellation of the horse panda.
That's the Aquarius in her.
Oh my
Sorry,
God, that's
folks. She's
fucking
such an
weirdo.
asparagus.
I'm such a weirdo. I love it though. You know what? I'm here at this point in my adult life, and that's what I've talked about before, to own my weirdness. To own my weirdness as an Aquarius. I used to hate it. I masked it, and I can no longer mask it. It's just coming out at this point. I try, and honestly, I'm done with trying to mask things. We're not doing that anymore.
So speaking of feeling like a weirdo and being a weirdo, hey followers, fans, friends. I was thinking about this the other day. What if I call y'all weirdos? Because y'all, if you like us so much, you must be like us.
Yes, like, but being like divergent and going off the stereotype. Yes. What, like,
So
oh my
we can
goodness.
start the show. Hey
Call
weirdos.
ourselves weirdos. Hey weirdos.
Yeah.
Like-minded weirdos.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
it, but in a positive way. Okay.
Back to homework.
So.
We have to cut a lot of that out.
So.
It's okay.
Moving on to our rising sign, moving on to my rising sign, so that is Libra. So similar to your sun sign.
Mhm.
Yay, we're somewhat alike here. So again, the rising sign is representative of what others might think of you. It's your social personality title, basically. So Libra risings tend to be bright, inspired, and they live in their own mind, which I think just further confirms the fact that I'm an Aquarius, so we'll go with it. Libra ascendants tend to come across as nice, pleasant, and friendly. Harmony and love tend to be common themes with these people. They easily make friends. They are looked at by others as gentle people who want to solve problems for others. And their soft approach actually does work to persuade people pretty well. Sometimes people would argue that a soft approach does not work well, but it works well for them. Usually they have a charming smile and a natural attraction to others even without meaning to. However, that natural attraction doesn't always go great. It literally listed Libra rising people, and particularly like Aquarius Libra rising, as the type of people who unfortunately attract the wrong types of people in their relationships, particularly their love lives. They tend to be people who stereotypically have a long string of toxic, traumatic, abusive relationships. And no lie, that's unfortunately from my past, no longer who I am today. I do have a history of toxic and mentally and physically abusive relationships in my past, just being completely open
Yeah.
and honest with our listeners.
Thank you for
So,
that sharing that.
yeah. And we'll talk about that another time with a different, mental health topic. These people are easily taken advantage of. And I think that, interestingly, with you being a Libra sun, it kind of talks about the empathy aspects of
Mm-hmm.
that. And if this is how others view me, they know that, okay, gentle, loving person, let's go after this, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that's not my whole personality. So being aware of that is important, and that can help with those things. Um, these people also can tend to have issues with impracticalities. They get easily bored. They can get distracted. Not my ADHD coming through. They can sometimes try too hard to keep up with the nice girl, nice guy image that they've been given by others, which can cause internal strife.
Yeah.
That I feel so much. Again, with the whole, I always thought I was kind of like a weird girl, weird kid growing up. Felt like I had to mask that to fit in. I always felt that others and, acquaintances always saw me as a lot of these wonderful positive things that the rising sign lists. But then there's like, I always feel this internal pressure. This happens a lot in my career. This happens a lot with people before, like, as I'm getting to know them, before I know, like, can I truly trust you?
Yeah.
Of like, I have to play as like the nice, sweet, older reference here, but Mad Men, the Betty Draper, like the really
Mm-hmm.
nice 1950s housewife, which then also, again, sometimes attracts the wrong kind of guys.
Right.
So it's like trying to give that like girl next door vibe when like I'm really not actually that. Like
Yeah.
I'm more than that, but it's easier to just try to keep to that if that's what's considered positive by others.
Yeah.
So there's a struggle there sometimes. But yeah, I felt like, man, it really helped define the balance of some of the things with where I feel I'm definitely an Aquarius and some of the more social aspects that Aquarians aren't always known for that I get out of that Libra side.
Yeah.
So lastly, my moon sign is Leo, which, oh goodness. Shout out to my friends Alex and Vicky.
Hi guys.
They know some experiences that we've had with a couple of Leos in our past. If you are a wonderful, awesome Leo sign as a sun sign, kudos to you, and you're wonderful and you're amazing. I've had some interesting experiences with some quite like more like egotistical, thinks
Mm-hmm.
only about themselves type of people that are Leos. um, so yeah, those two friends and I we've had some experiences with it, a couple of these. But when your moon is in Leo, this usually means you're plus or minus on the outgoing side, unlike the Leo sun sign where they tend to be very outgoing, want to be like in the center of everything that's going on, not necessarily always center of attention, that is their downfall, but like being a part of the big things. So when it's your moon sign, you don't necessarily always want to do that on the outside. It's more like when you get comfortable around people and close to them that you enjoy being more in the spotlight and tend to be more extroverted in nature. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of similar to what you said, where like it takes time, like you're at a party for a while. You don't want to be that first one that talks to everyone. You kind of
Yeah.
just hang back a little bit and then you get into it. There's a need. This one got me, and I felt a little insulted at first when I read it, and then I'm like, shit. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, sometimes I need to learn to be better about this. And but it's like with good intentions. So here we go. They have a need to organize and control aspects of their life, and downside, sometimes other people around them.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yes.
So there's an intermission to set things right and oversee how that's going, but not just for you, but for the people that you care about. It's kind of like that. I care about you, Jaron.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make sure these things happen for you. And then, like, I want to know, like, is that working? Is that going right? And I feel like sometimes, even when we talk about, I thought about our podcast and when I do the research and things, and I'm like, okay, I need to know this side or like what's going on with this and this and this and this. And it helps sometimes with organization.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I know I have to be careful about that, and I need to remind myself, like, it's okay. Let everyone do their own thing, and then you come together. Like, it'll be all right, you know?
Yeah.
so, so it's like, it, the way that they put it was, it's like bossiness. So as they say, it's like bossiness, but it's for your own good. So you come out with these good intentions of like, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna help you do these things, whether you like it or not, but it's for your own good, which totally gave me that firstborn energy, which I am the firstborn. Um, my younger brother, he would probably agree with this wholeheartedly. um, but on the positive side of that, it's basically that you want to create things for others to enjoy around them. You enjoy entertaining people. For example, I do love hosting Thanksgiving coming up next week, so I'm very excited for that. Um, you do require and want to be loved a lot in order to function well, so they can be emotionally demanding. Thank you, Spencer. They do not appreciate being slighted by others. They are prone to sulking, but usually in private only. They're too concerned about image to do so in public. Basically, saving your tears for the pillow. They prefer to take a hit to their pride with dignity and respect in public, which I think that helps me with, being a professional and stuff in my career and things. But they do get emotional at home. And yes, I definitely have breakdowns about stress of a variety of things in my life and work and all the other things at home that I would never let people see in public.
Right.
Being totally honest. This allows them to have courage to take risks, though, to make the changes that they want to see.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes. Thank you for sharing all of your
Of
stuff,
course.
too.
If anybody would like to learn more on birth charts or know what their birth chart is,
Mm-hmm.
the links will be in our description of the episode notes. It is the astro.cafeastrology.com. That's the one that you want to click on.
Mm-hmm.
So those were our things. And speaking of some moons, we do have a new moon phase coming up soon. So 2 days after this episode releases on Wednesday, November 23rd, we will have a new moon. The new moon will kick off the free-flowing fire sign of Sagittarius season, which will be nice after the lunar eclipse heaviness most of us have been experiencing. Personally, I have not been experiencing any of those issues like most of the people that I have known. There was a moment where Heather and I were like, there are like 9 planets in retrograde, and both of us were like living life.
Yeah.
So
we talked about that. Yeah. Like I was actually feeling okay, but I knew of other people who were like, yo, I'm not feeling right.
yeah.
And there were a lot of people like that. I was chugging along.
Yeah. So as for empaths, I think that's going to be really great for us because then we're not worried about everybody else's energies.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to celebrate expansions and new beginnings. It will
Yay.
call on you to seek higher knowledge, pursue greater aspirations, and expand your perspective. Because of the eclipse season causing additional chaos, moon magic wasn't clear to practice with. Now with the new moon underway, we can go back to doing what feels right. For example, candle lighting and meditation with intention amplifying crystals.
Ooh.
This is
I like that piece of advice. Yeah, because sometimes I
Mhm.
need to remember that. Again, both as beginner witches, like we're kind of learning as we go, and
Right.
with our podcast audience too.
Right. And so this is a great time to learn something new. So hopefully you all learn something new. And I think even if the witchcraft or any of that really is something that you are or are not interested in, I know a lot of people who don't follow any sort of craft and they're still interested in their zodiac and their birth chart.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is that website when people have memes where they're like, "Hey mom, what time was I born?" And then it says, "Get away from her."
Yes. Yes.
Yes, this
Yes.
is what
In
they're talking
relationships.
about.
Can I just say that I knew that Spencer had passed a green flag test when I asked him for that information, and he was like, "Sure, yeah, honey."
No
And then
problem.
I straight up told him, I'm like, this is related to astrology, and he's like, "Oh, cool. Tell me what you think." And I'm like, "Oh, so freaking supportive."
Yes.
Find supportive people that appreciate your passions, people.
Yes. We love that. So thank you so much for listening to us today. We hope you had a great time. If you like
Yes.
what we did on today's episode, come be typically divergent with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and other social media platforms soon to come. You can find all of the ways that you can be a part of the conversation and communicate with us directly through our link tree below in the episode show notes. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to wish our audience a happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes, that's right. Happy Turkey Day, y'all. For those of you who do not live in America, We're not going to get into the history
just
of
cook
it.
extra food.
It's
Yeah, we're
just
not.
another reason
No.
for Americans to eat.
Yes, we're gonna say that because it's yeah.
Yes. And if you have issues with relatives or family members, um, this tends to be the holiday that brings up the most drama. So good luck.
Yeah. Good luck. Um,
Put yourself first.
yes.
Don't sacrifice
Remember,
yourself.
don't accept disrespect. Avoiding things sometimes does help, but if you do need to, leaving and going to a different room at minimum can sometimes help. But yeah.
So yeah, happy Turkey Day, everybody, and you will hear from us next week.
Woo!
We love you, and we'll see you will. Bye.
Bye, guys.